Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of One Man Cups. My name is James Mitchell, and I'll be your host. This is Lloyd O'Sullivan, and he'll be hosting today's presentation with me. Yeah, together. To start off, I'm going to start off with the history of One Man Cups, and then I'm going to go into the actual presentation given to us by Izer. How do you pronounce it? Izer? Okay. And then we're going to go into our Q&A from our live audience, as well as our virtual audience, and then we're going to wrap it up with our closing. So in the beginning, the One Man Cups was created by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. And the purpose of this foundation was to work with communities in entrepreneurship and education to increase opportunities that allows all people to learn, to take risks, and to earn their own success. And they did that through One Man Cups. But what is One Man Cups? One Man Cups is it's a weekly program to educate and engage and connect all local entrepreneurs. It's the mission behind One Man Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education and those resources and connections for all types of entrepreneurs. Next slide. And it's growing. Each and every day it's growing. At first it started off with one community in Kansas City. Then it grew to all the way to 103 communities in 2017. After that, it grew to 163 communities. And I believe right now it's over 200 communities as of 2021. At each location, there's usually 1 or 2 presentations. But today we're only gonna have one presenter. His name is Iver, and he'll have 6 minutes to present with 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A and for our audience. If you wanna join our community or our platform or our Facebook community, please follow us at OneManCupsChico.com. And with that being said, Iver, are you ready to present?
Yeah. It's saying that you cannot screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Oh yeah, I'll stop here for you. There you go.
Thank you. And let me know when you can see my screen.
Looks perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be presenting. My name is Iver Martinez with Innovare Social Innovation Partners. We are a data and strategy organization and application that supports education leaders with data, strategic planning, and we provide a human-centered design approach to the way that we provide our support, which I'll get into a little bit later. But really, I finished my MSCD at the Graduate School of Education at the University of Pennsylvania. And after finishing my master's in education entrepreneurship, really trying to discover how we can create social change and impact ventures that can really support the education ecosystem and our leaders, I found Innovare. I met with our CEO, AJ De Leon, and from there, I just knew that I really wanted to be part of an organization that supports from the top down and really providing leaders within the education space insights within their data and how to support their students to improve student outcomes. What I would ask at the beginning of every One Man Cups presentation is just to gain your insights. We really want to come into the Chico market space, share what we do, meet with school leaders such as principals, maybe charter school leaders, executive directors, or superintendents at districts. And then we want to connect with you all. We want to learn more about spaces that we can get into, other opportunities where we can really share what we do. And at the end of the day, as I'm going through this presentation, to just mark down notes on how we can improve our messaging, make it easier for others to understand what we do and the impact that we are making. Really our why at Innovare is what we found across the education ecosystem with a lot of our leaders is that the data I needed is in different places. We find that a lot of schools are very data rich, but it's in silos. It's not working with one another to really provide those insights that align to their strategic plans. And that the dashboards that I have aren't useful. A lot of times when we come to get support with dashboard management, we don't have an actual customer success team that really supports in diving deeper to what are your goals, what are your initiatives, what are we trying to make a change within our own organizations, and how can we use that data to provide us insights on where we can make improvements or where we have more challenges that need more support. And the third thing that we continue to hear is I'm not able to track my team's work. Really being able to align our strategic plans, our actions, and our goals with our data to make sure that we're staying on track with any of our initiatives. And so what we do is we support with really centralizing all their data systems onto one application. We support them with looking into what are their goals and their initiatives and creating that strategic plan and creating action items to be able to get those goals done. And at the end of the day, we provide support all the way throughout our partnership. Excuse me. When we centralize these data systems, we're really looking to provide that human-centered design approach. So what data systems are available to us? What are your goals and initiatives? Who will be using these data sources? And then what are the actions that we really want to take from these insights? I just had a quick freeze, but I'll go back. And really what we're hoping that this does is helps them to really align their strategic plans in one application and one dashboard. And really share their impact. At the end of the day, we want to show the growth of our students, or making sure that our students are in class and learning, that we're getting a better understanding of their social and emotional health. You know, do they feel like they have a sense of belonging within their school? And the way that we started was in 2017. AJ, Nick in the middle, and Fernando, AJ's brother, co-founded Innovare. And in 2018, we started seeing that there was really this value that was needed. And the reason why we found this was specifically because AJ and Nick in the beginning were both data strategists within Chicago public schools. And they just saw this need to really support their community by providing them with more intuitive data that really aligns to each school leader's goals. And so in 2019, we brought on Fernando, who is our Chief Growth Officer, and he supported in really developing the application, making it easier for our partners to really go in and access their data in real time that updates consistently. And in 2020, due to the pandemic, we found that there was this huge challenge. A lot of our leaders and our partners really said, what are other schools doing? We were going through a time where, you know, things weren't certain. Everyone was kind of scrambling to figure out how do we really support our students, our teachers, and our community. And what we found is that we needed this ability in Inno to provide recommendations. And so we recently developed a catalog of best practices and recommendations for our school leaders. And in 2021, we have continued to increase our team. And the only way that we're able to do this is truly through our team, built with diverse educators, tech and business experts from all these organizations that you see all around them. We're truly a community that cares for our leaders and hopes to serve K through 12 schools and nonprofit organizations. Right now, we're in 10 states with 70 plus or 80 plus partners, and we're looking to expand. 97% of our customers renew annually, and 4.8 out of 5 say that they will refer us to another individual. Our progress thus far, our annual revenue over time in 2018 to 2019, we started at 420K. We moved to 800K and to $1 million in 2020 to 2021. And this year we're projected to reach $3 million. We have a really highly sticky recurring revenue where our sales cycle is 48 days. Our average annual subscription rate is about $20,000 per district or per school. And our renewal rate is 97%. The way that we typically developed our costs is through the number of users who are using Inno, the number of data sources that we're pulling data from, and the number of data pages or data visualizations that we create. And I want to share, we're humbled to really have this testimonial from Dr. Manoni, who's a distinguished Chicago principal. And what I want to highlight here is that at Innovare, at the end of the day, we care about outcomes. We care about supporting education leaders, providing them with more time so that they can support the community that they serve within their schools, the students, and really measuring how to improve student outcomes at the end of the day. So what I do ask is that if there's any insights of the ecosystem in Chico, if there's any connections that you think we should be talking with or sharing what we do, we'd love to connect with education leaders, whether that be principals, assistant principals, superintendents of districts, executive directors of charter schools. We're really trying to implement the market and share more about what we do. And lastly, just to gain your insights, how is the messaging, any ways that we can make improvements, where we can make things more clear. That's it. And please feel free to connect. I'm also going to drop a Google Doc within the chat. And if there's anything that you feel that you can support us with, we'd love to connect with you. So we have our name, last name, and email, and then how can you help. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I'd open it to questions.
A round of applause.
Well, thank you, Iver, for that. I really appreciate it. We're gonna move on to our Q&A part of the program. But first, I want to say, I really liked your slides. It's very simple, straight to the point, straightforward. And I really, if I can speak for everybody else, I really think I understood what it is that you do and like what your company does, etc. I do have one question before anybody else asks their question. Why do you think you guys are having the success that you guys are having now? Like personally.
I truly think it's because of the culture that we've developed. Everyone who's in is our team, right? At the end of the day, it's the people who are ingrained in the work that we do, who care about listening, right, to every single leader that we have and all of our partners to really understand what are they trying to achieve, where can we make improvements, and how can we add value. And when you talk about scalability, the amount of support that we provide to some investors might not seem like it's scalable, right? We spend too much time on each partner, but that's what we believe in. We came into the space because we want to improve outcomes. And so I think that's what has separated us apart. Just seeing that we have so many clients and partners who are willing to share the work that we do to support other principals or education leaders, I think that's allowed us to have the success that we have.
Cool. Why do you think your program, I know your program is I guess it's a strategic, it measures the strategic performance and allows you to strategic plan for schools. Why do you think schools are so open to using your platform? Is it the way you pitch the idea, or is it the platform itself? Can you explain or elaborate a little bit more about that? Usually
it's the support that we can provide in really centralizing all the data. Right now, it's just so dispersed. It's very siloed. And just that, if you think about your own phone, right, the amount of apps that you have with the amount of different passwords that you have to access just to get that information, we really want to just make it easy and save our principals time. Just to share a quick story, one of our principals was, her quote was, "I'm just so glad that I can go use the bathroom," right? That I can go do something else because now I can access that information. It alleviates some amount of time. And our leaders right now are they're busy, right? They're in it. Things are changing so constantly that we just want to be able to provide our support. And I think that ability to really drive actions using the data available to us is super important and helps our leaders. So smart.
So is that the main benefit of your platform, is to just centralize all of that data, or are there some other things that can be done?
Yeah, it's not just that. We really want to focus in on team structures, goal setting, and learning cycles. So we believe in continuous improvement. A lot of times, in any organization, right, we plan a plan, but we believe in a PDSA model, right? We plan, we do, and then we study on those actions, and then we act upon them. So that's something that we continuously instill, and we try to use within Inno while we do that strategic planning, the goal setting as well. So we can track who's doing what was our last conversation in our last meeting? How are we keeping ourselves on track to really hit those milestones? And then at the end of the day, once we hit them, how are we learning? How are we taking time to reflect and saying, if we do, then we'll see, and how are we measuring that? How are we measuring that impact so that we can go back at the end of our goals and really assess, were we able to reach our goals? And if not, then what can we do to improve that?
Fantastic. I really like how you were able to, tell your story and have these testimonials. It's very, impactful to your presentation. That's great.
I appreciate that.
Do we have any questions in the audience?
Sure.
Yeah. We'll have someone come up here.
We were going to turn the camera around, I think, at one point.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
So one of these days. So I belong to a group called CERT and some other clubs, volunteer type clubs. And then we have a thing called D4H. And what that lets us do is I can see all the people that are on call for anything and their contact information and all that stuff. And then I can see upcoming events that we're going to be assigned to, and I can decide whether to sign up for it or not as a volunteer. And so I wondered if there's something like that, if there's students might be able to log in. And I also wonder if perhaps an untapped market might be homeschool type kids or people at a Lutheran church or whatever, a different Catholic school, different religious schools that aren't necessarily going to be tied into a school district. Might try to figure out how to deal with those people.
Yeah, we would love to connect with any educational leaders. Really, we've mostly stayed with charter school superintendents and public school leaders, But yeah, if they have data that they want us to really centralize and strategic plans to support them, that's something that we definitely would look into and support.
Great.
Sharing also our CEO and our president also were in the Surge Institute. So I'm happy to see that you mentioned that.
I'm gonna ask a
Great.
question.
We have another
Alright.
question.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for presenting at our chapter. We totally appreciate it. I love the fact that we can do things on Zoom because we get to experience what's going on, not just in our region, but all over. And it's easier to help connect. So I have a question specific to selling into academia. It is really hard to sell into academia. And are you doing, I can only guess, you guys are doing the due diligence of understanding what the thresholds for signatures are I'm learning that the hard way because I run a nonprofit, but I also work at the local college. So whenever I need to buy software at the local college, oh my goodness, it is a nightmare. So in trying to understand that world, it seems like there's certain thresholds, like if you can get it below $5,000 and you don't have to go through 15 forms and 25 signatures. Yeah, do you follow where I'm going? And I understand why you would go after the public school because public schools are more of a one-to-many strategy, right? But can you tell us can you share with us what hurdles you've hit there and how you've overcome them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, the education market space is a little bit more challenging when it comes to getting payments. You need a vendor number. You need to understand the ecosystem within every single market. So it has been really that entrepreneurial spirit, right? Where you continue to persist, you can continue to learn and figure out what supports you need, what partnerships do you have to make to really be able to share your product and get it purchased. But we've also noticed, we come from the communities that we serve. We want to be able to support public school leaders. A lot of times they don't have all the tools that we think that they should. We're really supporting the next generation. And so to get to your point, I think it's really just overcoming, making partnerships. And also what we found to be the best way of sharing what we do is having a partnership where we support a leader and have them tell the story of the impact that we help them drive. And that has really been our way of implementing Inno throughout the different markets that we've been able to share what we do, truly through making connections, building rapport, building relationships, and having them share that information of what we've been able to help them with. And so I think that's where it's a little bit different within the education ecosystem. Having someone to introduce you and to show the support that you provided is super important. Really having those ties and that network and that connection where you care about the value that you're adding, I think has allowed us to be able to share our work more frequently.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's very interesting. I'm actually, now that she mentioned that, I'm actually curious to know, I'm not sure if you mentioned it in your slides, but who are your competitors? Who do you think are your indirect and direct competitors? Because I'm sure, like, even though this is a really good idea, I'm sure somebody's have thought of this already, and you guys came to the market with some type of, understanding of who, the competitors could be. So could you explain, like, who the direct and indirect competitors are?
Yeah, so we don't say it's as much direct. There's indirect, a lot of indirect, but we use a component where we truly believe in continuous improvement. And so that's what we built into Inno, where we do have that plan, do, study, act. In everything that we do, we continuously are trying to reiterate and make those improvements, looking at the green and seeing how we can improve the green. But yeah, there's other people in the space. One recently got purchased by Power School, and that's Bright Bytes. They were an indirect competitor, but they were also helping to centralize data. Where we were really wanting to support is not only centralizing data, but making sure that our strategic plans and our goals really align to the data that we have available to us. So instead of us just using data in general, right, we're using it to really see if what we plan to have an effect on had that intended effect. And if it did not, then what can we do to make a new hypothesis or have a new action that will really support in completing that goal? That's where I think we have that competitive advantage. And to circle back, we work with leaders. And so something that does help us a lot working with principals, they're the decision makers. So if they want this tool within their school, they can decide on that. And I think that helps us improve our ability to scale because we're really working with the final decision maker who can decide, is this a tool that I want to be able to support my work and my initiatives?
Cool. Along with that, like, wouldn't it, or I'll ask you a question. So like, wouldn't it be, I guess, easier for them to implement like a do strategy on their platform, and like since they already have like, they've already got bought out and they already have like the scalability of like, you know, customers as far as and funding as well. Like if they were to implement just a do strategy, could they outcompete you guys, and that could be their advantage?
That hasn't been the thought on our mind of them coming in and being outcompete us. We're kind of here knowing the work that we do and the value that we add and the support that we provide. And due to us still being a startup, we can provide more support that we do. Like there's certain things that we care about within our customer success and onboarding process and the work that we drive with our partners that I think allows us to keep our competitive advantage within the space. Even the way that we're now using a community of leaders to really share knowledge, I think is another aspect that we provide, where we're really focusing on, hey, how can we get everyone in the same room to share the knowledge and what they're doing at their schools so that it can improve schools for everyone, right? So we can see what's specifically supporting our schools and being beneficial. And I think the next thing that we're working on is really use AI to support our leaders in figuring out what are the best strategies that are out there. What has really made the best impact for specific leaders that can be implemented within your own schools. So I hope that answers your question. Is there anything that you would like me to expand on with that? And that's a great question.
I do have one more thing to say, but before I say it, would anybody else like to
Heather,
chime in?
did you have a question? I think that answered his.
I did, thanks. Obviously 2020 and right now this isn't happening, but did you take your, you take Innovare on the road at all as far as educational conferences or anything like that before we all went down the, you know?
Yeah, we did. That was actually a great way for us just to share what we do and get ourselves out there. We even had our president move out to Kansas City. And so he stayed there meeting with school leaders.
Oh, wow.
We tried multiple strategies. Just really, what I think is most beneficial is being in the space, right? Being amongst leaders where you can share what we do and promote our brand. And so that has been the most effective for us. If we can host a happy hour, be at a conference, sponsor a workshop or a professional development session, any way that we can provide more value to our partners. We even had one partner just come in and say, hey, you know, I need all my teachers to do this PD session. We don't have any more budgeting, you know, and that's a partner of ours. We went to the conference the year prior. We knew it was a really great session. We sponsored it and had everyone go. And so I think that's, you know, that's what we value. We value supporting our leaders at the end of the day. And if they need help or want to be in a PD session and we can help, we will.
Awesome. Yeah. It looks like you have a pretty robust team. So I assume you have salespeople in each region that are reaching out to different parts of the country. And
yeah, even sessions like this. We've done 1 million cups in the past. We've presented and made connections to get new leaders and new partners. So really any opportunity that we can to really just be in front of you all or network, that's been a great strategy for us.
Thank you.
So any more questions? No.
Might wrap it up.
Might wrap it up. Okay, before we wrap it up, I did have one last question, and I was wondering, do you guys have like a demo to show, you know, what Innovare does, or like how it works essentially?
Yeah, we do. And please feel free to reach out to me as well if you'd like to see a demo. I would be more than happy to share the actual application and more visuals. I'm a visual learner, so I wish I could put a little bit more in here and take you all through the demo. But please feel free to reach out at iser@innovaresip.com. I also put a link in the chat to fill out your information if that would be helpful. Love to connect.
Perfect.
Now, I'm surprised you guys no offense, but I'm surprised you guys don't have like an explainer video of the actual, you know, Innovare.
We do. We have some videos out there of the demo that share a little bit more. I just did it, you know, with the 5 minutes. I was I was trying to consolidate a couple of the slides, but we do have a video out, and we also have on our website at innovaresip.com. You can book a demo. It'll probably come right to me, and I'll share more of what we do.
Fantastic.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to wrap it up. So in closing, I'd like to thank Iver Shepard and Logan O'Sullivan for hosting today's presentation with me. I also like to thank our community sponsors. I'd like to thank Morgan Stanley, ChicoSTART, Growth Tech, Global Entrepreneurship Network, T-Bar, Build.com, Startup Grind, Explore Butte County, and last but not least, Stovall Coffee. And for our audience, every Wednesday, make sure to be here at 9 a.m. Either in person at Stovall Coffee or on Zoom. Next week will not be canceled for Growth Tech. Next week we'll have another presenter. And for our audience, if you want to learn more about workshops or just other business resources in general, please sign up for ChicoSTART newsletter. Thank you, Isaac, for presenting today, and hopefully we'll keep touching soon. Keep in touch.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
See ya.